Retro Rob's Help Desk.
Hey, Rob here, and with me is the Lenovo Flex 3 11-inch tablet slash notebook. It is multi-mode. I'll go into that in a little bit, which I think is a bunch of crap. The MSRP on this is $350. You can usually get it for less. You're going to see it for less during this holiday season. I'm speaking to you in the end of November of 2015, so that's when you'll see it on the shelves. This is the 4 gig model. It's got 4 gig RAM, 500 gig hard drive. There's a second model of this that's about $100 cheaper. It's around $250 or maybe even as low as $199. It is a 2 gig version. Now, I'm going to tell you something as of this time. You should never, ever, ever buy a 2 gig laptop. There's no reason on earth that a laptop in 2015 or probably 2016 when you're watching this should ever be 2 gigs. Do not buy one. You are just asking for it not to do what you want it to do. Look, if you're sitting here and you're going, I'm going to get a touchscreen and I'm going to get a 2 gig touchscreen laptop. No, get one without the touchscreen that has 4 gigs. Don't waste your time. I hate to say it, touchscreen is really, it's mostly a gimmick. Not on a tablet, but on this kind of thing, this kind of laptop combo, it's really just a gimmick. So, I'm saying that. I don't hate this device. I'm not going to be hating on it. But I just want you to know that if you have a choice here between 2 gigs and a touchscreen, between 4 gigs and a touchscreen, you take the 4 gigs. You take the more RAM and the more storage, and don't hose with that because you don't really use the touchscreen that much on this. It's just not a thing. All right, so rant aside, it also has a dual-core Celeron processor, which is, passable. As mentioned, it has a touchscreen. There we go. I suppose I will quickly go through the multiple modes. I've got photos of it in the multiple quote modes. Let's mention our multiple modes first. There's laptop mode, which is the standard laptop configuration. You can see it here. It's a very attractive laptop. We'll talk about the screen. Stand mode, which I'm showing right now, which is basically flipping the laptop over and setting the keyboard face down on the ground, which you can see the possible problems with that. Now, that said, it does have a rubberized surface on the top, like just a little edge around the top of the keyboard. Not the keyboard itself, but the keyboard platform, the deck, that allows it to rest comfortably on a table without skidding around. So it's actually pretty decent in this mode. There is also tent mode. Make sure that you have the laptop set to be able to flip the screen. Otherwise, it's going to look kind of silly with the screen upside down. But here you can see the screen is indeed flipped. And finally, there is tablet mode, which is arguably the other actual mode. In none of these quote modes is it anything more than just moving a hinge around. The hinge rotates fully. So you can basically, in tablet mode, the keyboard's facing down, the screen is facing up, and you're just using the screen to manipulate it. Now, this comes with Windows 8, but of course there's a free upgrade from Windows 8 to Windows 10. You should, of course, immediately do that before you even touch the thing. Don't even mess with it. Just upgrade to Windows 10 because it has a much neater way of supporting the tablet mode, in that basically you can use it as a regular Windows 10 laptop when you're just using it with the keyboard like this, and then when you switch over here. Well, wait. Let me log in a second. Let me just show you this. I'm going to log in. There we go. Hey, type in the password, bud. Okay, so now it's in regular Windows 10 mode, but watch when I flip it and turn it into, there we go. Now it looks a lot like Windows 8 when it's like that, but it's made for touchscreen at this point. The interface is set for touchscreen, which is really pretty nifty. That works really well in Windows 10. So upgrade yourself to Windows 10 if you get one of these. That's pretty cool. All right, so what was I talking about? I was going to talk about construction, then I will talk about ports and such. So if you don't really care about how it looks, you can skip on a little bit and get to where I'm showing you the ports, where I'll hold it up like this and show you the ports. General construction, I think it feels really good. It does feel solid. It's not too heavy, but it doesn't feel cheap and light. The deck is actually aluminum. That is not fake. That is actual blushed. It's blushing. Brushed aluminum. Very classy. On the other hand, if you look at the screen, it's impossible not to notice that gigantic bezel. It's huge. My God, look at that bezel on that thing. Somebody's been embezzling. The bezel's too big. It actually puts off the look of the entire device a little bit. It makes it look cheaper than it generally would, which is too bad. The other sacrifice of the screen is you'd think if they were going to give me a postage stamp size screen on here, which it's not that small. I'm just overdoing it. But if they were going to give me this size screen, you'd think that they would make it have a great viewing angle. It does not. You have to really pretty much look directly into it, otherwise the coloring's off. And I'm not even kidding. I mean, it really has a very, very shallow angle that you can view it at. You basically got to look at it dead on. Maybe a degree or two off, but it's really unusual for a laptop in 2015 to have to hold the angle this much. Color-wise, it's okay. I had to adjust it out of the box. It seemed a little bit reddish to me, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about that because I compared it to my other two laptops, and the other two looked pretty good, and this one looked really reddish. So even the recycle bin looked reddish. So I did adjust it, but it looks really good now. I do like the screen when I'm looking right at it. The keyboard, if you look at it, it is a very flat keyboard. Wait, let's see if I can show you. See how flat it is? And you do feel that when you're typing. And it's not like you get the fake positive clicks that you get out of an Apple keyboard that's this shallow. You're really just thunking the keys. That said, you know what? After a few minutes of typing on it, I really like it. I like just... It's really quite nice. Not a bad keyboard at all. Doesn't feel bad. I wish I could say that for this right here. This little guy it just feels cheap. You can hear the click, but it feels shallow. It feels cheap. The touchpad is not real good. That said, it's responsive. It works okay. I do like the fact that they bothered to put like a chrome edge around it. Looks really nice. Fit and polish is kind of a mixed bag, as you would expect from a laptop of this price. Hard drive. I did mention earlier that it was a 500 gig hard drive that's on this. It is absolutely not an SSD. The cheaper model does have an SSD in it, but this one does not. So this is a mechanical hard drive, 5200 RPM, I believe. So let's talk about what comes on it. It does come with some basic, I think it's McAfee antivirus. Sorry, I totally removed it right away. It also comes with an amazing amount of circus wear on it, so when you get it, be prepared to clean it up. If you are not a technical person, and you are perhaps buying this at Best Buy or something, this is one of the few times I'm going to tell you maybe you should shell out a little bit and have the technician do a tune-up on it and clean up all the crap wear on it. And tell them specifically that you want them to clean up all the circus wear. You want it very clean. Otherwise, it's going to take up a lot of RAM. I can't even imagine how this thing, the 2 gig version, would even run with all the crap that was on here. But anyway, cleaned it up, and now it runs really fast. Application-wise, it runs most applications. Now, I do a whole lot of indie gaming, so it ran my indie games just great. I wouldn't be running Battlefield on this, though. I don't think I would be planning to do that anytime soon, but for most indie games it's fine. Casual browsing, it's quite good. Got rid of the Edge browser right away. Well, you didn't get rid of it, you can't really, but I switched over to Chrome browser. It works really well. I've had absolutely no lockups with it. It doesn't get excessively warm. It stays quite cool even when I'm stressing it, so that's really nice. And it's very quiet. You very seldom hear the hard drive at all. So it is a very quiet little device, and that's kind of rare for a mechanical hard drive. So yeah, that is pretty nice. Port-wise, well, it's actually not too bad. Let's go over the ports. On this side, if you look right here, here's the power button. It's very nice that it has a little light on there to indicate that it's on. That doesn't always happen in low-end machines like this. Here's the bad part. Sometimes you hit it accidentally. In fact, I've hit it about 4 times so far. On my desk, just bump into something, and boom. Yeah, I've just turned my laptop off. Let's see. USB ports. There's 2 on this side. There is a 3rd on the other side, making it totally acceptable. Not bad at all, really. This is one of those always-on ports if you need to charge things with it. There is an HDMI port on the back. It's not a mini one. It's an actual HDMI port. That's really nice. There is also another thing that you don't generally see on very inexpensive laptops is an actual Ethernet port. This is a real, honest-to-goodness Ethernet port. You notice they can talk to you. Hi, how are you? Really cool. Nice addition. On the other side, this is the power cable connector. Interesting story about the power connector. It is really weird looking, and man, I don't think I did bring it. Okay, this is what the power connector looks like. It's this square thing. I'm used to seeing a barrel, and it just plugs in there, and it's really quite nice. And also, you can plug it in either way. There's no wrong way to do it. So you can just plug it in there and charge away. Not bad. Also, there is SD card reader. This is really nice. There's a little rocker switch for volume here. And right here is a button that locks the screen position. So if you do not want your laptop to flip the screen when you're in tent mode and you want to look at things upside down, you can lock it in position and it won't flip. So that is also very nice. You don't have to do it in software. It's just sitting there on a button on the machine itself. So quite nice. Battery life, I have found that I could easily get 6 hours out of it, even when I'm beating on it. I'm trying to remember what they claim. I thought they claimed 10 hours on it, but in actual use, I've been able to get between 5 and 6 hours from it. So that's actually good. Again, this is a $300 device. Really quite nice. All right. So I suppose you're wondering, hey, what's the verdict? What do I think of this laptop? What do I think of the Flex 3? And I'll tell you that in general, I like it. I think it's an attractive looking laptop, which is kind of unusual in its price range. I think it has enough ports. It has 3 USB ports on it. The processor is okay. Memory, quite good for the budget range, or at least acceptable for the budget range, and it has a pretty large hard drive for this range. I think it is great for work, light duty home. It's not going to be a gaming machine by any stretch of the imagination, but you can play a little bit on it. Again, the only thing you really have to get past is the screen. If you can get by this big bezel and the rather shallow viewing angle, I think you'll enjoy this laptop quite a bit. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Bye.